Next, let's start with some intermediate commands in Fusion 360. So we will begin with creating a sketch just like earlier, and we will select a plane. So the first command here is the rectangle, a 2-point rectangle to be precise. To invoke this particular tool, to invoke this particular command, you can directly press R in your keyboard as well. So let's click it here and specify the first corner. So we are beginning with the origin itself, and as we are clicking and dragging the mouse, you can see the rectangle is getting formed. Let's provide the width as 100, press tab, provide the height as 50, and your rectangle is ready. Next is a 3-point rectangle. As the name suggests, you need 3 points to create the rectangle. Let's say this is the first point, this is the first corner. Let's say at 100 mm is the second corner, and as soon as we click there and drag the mouse in the either side, you can see the formation of the rectangle. Let's say the height is 50 and your rectangle is created. And finally we have a center rectangle. As the name suggests, it's a center oriented rectangle. That means you need to provide a center point first. Let's say this is the center point. As soon as we left click and drag the mouse outwards, the formation of rectangle can be seen with reference to the center point. Let's provide the width as 100, press tab, provide the height as 50, and your rectangle is ready. Do not worry if the sketch is not defined. We are not making a proper sketch here, so this blue coloration line will be there. We are just understanding these tools. Then we will propagate to circle. This center diameter circle using shortcut key C we have already discussed. So let's propagate to 2-point circle. So here we need to provide 2 points. Let's say we need to create a circle between the midpoints of these 2 lines of this rectangle. So how to find the midpoint? Whenever we hover the mouse over this line, a triangle icon is being made. This is nothing but the midpoint of this particular line in this rectangle. Select this one, select similar in the other line with the triangular notification, triangular icon, and your circle is made. Next circle is a 3-point circle. As the name suggests, you need 3 points to create the circle. Let's say the midpoint of this one, the midpoint of this one, and the midpoint of this one, and your circle is created. Next one is a 2-tangent circle. Here you need 2 tangents. That means 2 lines are required to create the circle. Let's say this is the first line and this is the second line, and as soon as we click both the lines, you can see the formation of the circle. Next is a 3-tangent circle. That means you need to provide 3 lines that are tangent to the circle. Let's say this is the first line, this is the second, and this is the third line, and your circle is created. Now let's get rid of the dimensions because we don't require it, because we are only understanding the tools, and get rid of the constraints as well from this sketch palette. Next is arc. So first we will understand a 3-point arc. That means we need to provide 3 points to create the arc. Let's say this is the first point, this one is the second point, and for the third point you can see the formation of the arc itself. It can be anywhere. Next is a center point arc. That means you need to provide a center point. Let's say this point is the center point and this is the radius of the arc. Let's say it's 50 millimeter again, and as soon as I release it and drag the mouse leftwards or rightwards, you can see the formation of the arc. This dragging is angular, so you have to provide degrees. Let's say it's 115 degrees and the arc is created. Next is a polygon in which first is a circumscribed polygon. That means a circle is inside of a polygon. So for that we'll click, just provide the center point and the diameter of the circle. Let's say it's 50. Press tab, choose the number of sides you want in the polygon. Let's say it's a octagon, so it's 8, and press enter, and your polygon is made. It's an octagon. The next polygon is an inscribed polygon. That means when we provide a center point and drag outwards, you can see the polygon is inside of the circle. Let's say it's 50 again, and it's again an octagon, and you can see there is certain differences in these two. Next is the ellipse. For creating an ellipse, you need to first provide a center point, then the radius of the major axis, let's say it's 100, and then when we click here and drag outside, we have to provide the diameter of the minor axis. Let's say it's 50. Click enter and your ellipse is ready. Next is a slot. Slot is a very important equipment in many industries, and the design and the sketch of the same is also equally important. So first is the center to center slot. That means you have to create slot between two centers. Let's say this one and this one. Just provide the width and your slot is ready. The next slot is the overall slot. It's just like center to center slot, but it will create, it is created more efficiently. Next is a center point slot. That means you have to provide just a center point. Let's say, let's drag somewhere here. Just provide the center point and provide the radius of the slot, and you can see the slot is getting formed with reference to the center point. Just provide the width, let's say it's 15, and your slot is ready. Then we have a 3-point arc slot. That means you have to provide 3 points. Let's say this one, and for the third point you are getting an arc. So let's say this is the arc, and when we drag the mouse outwards, you can create the slot. And finally we have a center point slot. That means you have to provide a center, you have to provide the diameter, create the arc, and then create the slot. That's it for slots. Then we have a very important, a very crucial, and a very amazing tool called spline. This we will be studying in very detail in the coming lectures. So this is like a editable line. Just click, left click anywhere multiple number of times, and this is your polyline. In certain software this is called a polyline, but it's a spline here. These points are called control points. When you are dragging these points, you can change the shape of a spline, and when we double click here, these handles, they can change the orientations of different areas where the control points are made. And then we have conic curve. Conic curve is somewhat like a 3-point arc, but it's bit different. In what context? That it is very much editable. Here also you have to provide 3 points, first, second, and for the third point you can see the formation is conical. And also as soon as we release the mouse, we click on the left mouse button, you can see this handle is occurring. Using this handle you can change the shape, and even you can bring it down to a line as well. Then we have point. If you need any reference point in any sketch, you can directly create a point in that sketch. Let's say I want a circle somewhat like let's say here. Let's provide dimension between these two as 20. and I want to create a circle here using this reference point, then this point command comes handy. And lastly, we have text. In text, we can just create a text box. We can write here, let's say, Fusion 360 course. You can fit this text on any curve as well, on any path as well. Let's select the path and you can see this is occurring here. Or you can simply have it as a text box. You can change the font, you can change the height, you can make it bold, you can make it italic, you can flip it horizontally, you can flip it vertically, you can align it as center or right or left, whatever you want. You can align them in the middle, in the bottom, whatsoever you like.